Incorporated engineers are professional engineers who maintain, manage, and apply current and developing technology to achieve cost-effective and innovative solutions to everyday problems. Honorable Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, Engineer Partili Champika Ranawaka, the chief guest this afternoon. Honorable former Minister, Engineer P. Dayaratna, patron of IIESL, Professor S.B.S. Abekon, Chairman, Engineering Council of Sri Lanka, Vidya Jyoti, Professor Dayanta Vijayasekara, Vice Patron of IIESL, the other members of the head table, the President, past Presidents, Trustees and the Council of Management IIESL, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen. The concept of engineering has existed since ancient times as humans devised fundamental innovations such as the pulley, the lever, and wheel, all of which are still consistent with the modern definition of engineering. The forerunners of today's engineers were simple individuals who proceeded mainly by trial and error. Over time, their tinkering combined with imagination and intelligence produced ingenious solutions which improved the way we know life as it is today. The name engineer originated in the 11th century from the Latin word ingeniator, used for conceptualizers of ingenious devices such as Archimedean screw, a clever device to raise water from a river onto the land by Archimedes. From the 18th through to the early 19th century, engineering became a discipline. It became the science and mechanics of adapting a systematic approach to solve practical problems. The laws of motion, formulated by Newtonian physics, launched calculus-based mechanics, the fundamentals of most engineering sciences. Gradually over time, scientists' perception of engineers changed. They went from being considered and taught as practical artists to being respected professionals. This was concurrent with the time that the technical training shifted to structured engineering schools. Information began flowing in an organized meetings, and journal publications became a formal means of communicating new findings as professional engineering societies emerged. College engineering curricula became well established and graduate schools appeared. Workshops turned into laboratories. Tinkering became industrial research, and individual inventions were organized into brilliant innovations. Engineers, however, in order to become leaders in these domains, have had to rebrand themselves in the background, reforming and formalizing education programs, expanding research efforts, and making every attempt to working collaboratively on an international scale. Intensive engineering research has produced not only new technologies, but also bodies of powerful systematic knowledge that has benefited humans on a global scale. With such globalization, it became necessary to standardize and regulate the experience and qualifications of engineering professionals by way of accreditation. That is, the process by which engineering programs were evaluated by external and independent bodies to determine specific standards were met. This was not only means of holding engineers accounted for their practices, but it also provided great incentive for engineers to educate themselves further and be recognized, gain respect by equivalent professionals and peers, and be properly acknowledged for their contributions to the society. Originally signed in 1989, the Washington Accord is an international agreement between bodies responsible for accrediting engineering degree programs. To complement the Washington Accord, the Engineering Council of the UK pioneered the Sydney Accord, which was signed in June 2001, recognizing the equivalency of qualifications for engineering technologies or incorporated engineers in signatory countries. Eventually, the Dublin Accord, signed in May 2012, became an international agreement establishing required educational base for engineering technicians. In June 2017, the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka was admitted as a provisional signatory to the Sydney Accord. However, as the only professional institution representing incorporated engineers in Sri Lanka, the IIESL too should also be encouraged to apply to be a signatory to the Sydney Accord. Equally appropriate, if not more so, the newly formed Engineering Council of Sri Lanka should be persuaded to be a signatory and gain recognition it deserves. Looking back in time, we can see how difficult it has been for the engineering profession in Sri Lanka to thrive as other professions have. Technical education in Sri Lanka originated in the 1890s with the establishment of Colombo Technical College. Recognized as the most established technical college in Sri Lanka, in 1893, it was renamed to be the Ceylon Technical College, which provided specialized training in the fields of civil, mechanical, and electrical engineering and arranged understudies for the degrees offered by the University of London and examinations of expert institutions of civil, mechanical, electrical engineering. A junior technical officers course was inaugurated at the Ceylon Technical College in the late 1940s. During its history, the Ceylon Technical College has exceeded the exclusive expectations bestowed upon it and delivered incredibly prominent engineers, including Engineer D.J. Vimala Surendra, Dr. A.N.S. Kulasinghe, Professor Jayanta Vijayasekara, and Engineer P. Dayaratna as well. In order to fulfill the need for an increased number of junior technical officers in 1961, the Institute of Practical Technology was established at Katubedde, Moratuwa, with financial aid from Canada. Only a few years after, the Hardy Regional Technical Training Institute was founded in Ampare. In 1967, soon to be converted to a university, the Ceylon College of Technology was established with the resources from IPTK. The Ceylon College of Technology developed a world-class 3-year engineering program called the National Diploma in Technology, NDT, in par with the Higher National Diploma in Engineering of UK. The National Diploma in Technology provided students with skills and drive to push the boundaries of discovery in the fascinating field of engineering, providing accessible, flexible, and efficient technological education and skills training to meet the needs of society and the industry. Since this time, several other recognized diploma-level engineering programs such as the National Diploma in Engineering Sciences, NDES, Higher National Diploma in Engineering, HNDE, and Diploma in Technology have been established in Sri Lanka. It is noteworthy that while the University of Moratuwa was well established in the process of issuing their National Diploma in Technology, NDT, UK's equivalent, HNDE program was converted to a 3-year BEng degree, representing a more prestigious target for prospective students and qualifying graduates. Unfortunately, for reasons unknown, Sri Lankan authorities were unwilling to do the same here. As per Engineering Council UK, professional registration provides a benchmark through which the public, employers, and their clients can have confidence and trust that registered engineers and technicians have met globally recognized professional standards. As such, professional titles such as CEng, IEng, Engineering Tech in the UK are only awarded by the Engineering Council and not by any other professional institution. This is in stark contrast to the current practices in Sri Lanka, where the professional title CEng is awarded by the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka, while the title IEng is awarded by the Institution of Incorporated Engineers Sri Lanka. Unfortunately, situations such as this have arisen due to unjust social recognition issues that stem from the lack of equal educational opportunities available to all, and a number of short-sighted solutions implemented over the years. As all of you are aware, chartered engineers develop solutions to engineering problems using new or existing technologies through innovation, creativity, and change, while the incorporated engineers maintain and manage applications of existing technology. Unfortunately, the disparity in society between the profession and another, or even between the titles within one profession, stem from small but significant injustices that are embedded in the core of our education system. Let me explain. At present, 40% of available places each year in the universities are reserved for students who are selected based on all island merit of set score. Of the remaining 60% of available places, up to 55 are selected on the district quota, and the remaining 5% of available university places are allocated to what is referred to as the educationally disadvantaged districts. There are major flaws with this system, which we as educated individuals should recognize and voice our concern towards. There is no agreement that those who enter the university through the educationally disadvantaged quota must return to their area of schooling after graduation. There is no accountability, no moral obligation or encouragement for these students to return to the backward area from which they applied from and give back the community, which will progressively eliminate such backwardness. Moreover, the markup for some district is so high that once the students do enter universities, the disparity between students is unduly large. So the universities also struggle to impart knowledge and educate the future professionals. As a consequence of the manner in which the tertiary education system operates in Sri Lanka, socio-economic division and social segregation are not only encouraged but to some extent enforced and regulated. It is not surprising that those who are selected to prestigious engineering faculties feel superior and belittle their peers who are not offered university places, despite the fact that their peers are potentially equally or sometimes more intelligent and capable of further study in these disciplines. And for these very reasons, there have been attempts to tarnish the image of the NDT program from its inception. Being a member of the first batch, I clearly recall the struggle we endured in order to establish ourselves as incorporated engineers due to a lack of recognition and respect from the industrial sector. Purely based on our performance, drive, and standing in solidarity, we were able to achieve much success, especially in the private sector. It was only in 1977 that All Ceylon Engineering Diplomats Association was formed to establish due recognition and look after the interest of engineering diplomats in Sri Lanka. The ASADA was later in 1992 transformed into Institute of Engineering Diplomats, and in the year 2000, in keeping with the international standards of professional engineering societies of similar nature, IIESL was renamed to what is currently known as the Institution of Incorporated Engineers Sri Lanka by an Act of Parliament. During the past 42 years, the institution had made rapid progress and achieved great success due to the teamwork, commitment, sacrifice, and hard work of all past presidents, council members, and the general membership. As the professional body of incorporated engineers who manage and operate engineering technology in Sri Lanka, have the mandate to develop professionalism among the members. During the present time of rapid economic and global changes, we find ourselves challenged to maintain our professional integrity and standards of conduct in professional and business activities. After many years of deliberations, in 2017, the Registration of Engineers Act was passed in the Parliament of Sri Lanka. Members of the Institution of Incorporated Engineers Sri Lanka and those aspiring to gain membership should be proud in the knowledge that the establishment of Engineering Council Act which came into fruition, came with significant struggle. I will be failing in my duty if I do not mention the dedicated efforts of our chief guest, Honorable Minister of Megapolis and Western Development, Engineer Peiris Ampikaranavaka, in this regard. Thanks to these efforts, the position of incorporated engineer is now a recognized title in Sri Lanka. Despite this favorable result, much needs to be done for proper implementation of the Act, which has to be jointly coordinated with the Institution of Engineers Sri Lanka. This Act, unlike similar acts in the other countries, is oriented more towards recognizing academic qualifications of engineers and not purely based on the demonstration of professional abilities and practical experience. Unlike the 3 professionally recognized engineering categories in the UK, the new Act in Sri Lanka acknowledges and awards total of 6 categories for engineering profession. To its credit, the IIESL has been successful in signing several reciprocal membership arrangements with multiple international professional organizations and bodies. Hopefully in the near future, Sri Lanka too will give due recognition to the incorporated engineer. On another pleasing note, we are happy to note the curriculum revision of engineering diploma programs are being carried out in Sri Lanka to keep abreast with the latest developments in technology. For example, as we understand, the recent conversion of NDT curriculum to a semester system has already occurred. This makes the NDT meet the credits and attributes required by the general needs of the country and world at large while meeting the requirements of international accords such as the Sydney Accord. One can confidently state that the name of engineering diploma programs have no bearing to the present diplomas or higher diplomas mentioned in the various qualification framework systems such as IVQ, NVQ or SLQF. These names are preserved and guarded to date by the stakeholders of the program due to their significant acceptance in both the local and international markets as valuable brand names. During the time when we were students, we had student unions. Today there are also parents associations. It is high time to provide upward mobility for diplomates, provide them an opportunity to follow study programs and obtain a 4-year degree while being employed. These are rights that are observed and respected internationally. It is disturbing to hear that the formal and smooth running of administrative structures are interfered and tinkered without the macro situation in mind, such as the recent appointment to the top post at ITUM. There may be futile attempts by some short-sighted individuals to reduce the number of credits of engineering diploma programs under the guise of decreasing the stress levels of students. However, this is untrue and misleading. Further, before I conclude, I wish to draw your attention to the Sinhala name of incorporated engineer, Sanstha Gata Engineeru, a name noted in the Act generated by the legal draftsman. I am sure that most of you agree that it does not reflect the real meaning of an incorporated engineer. Even though we are legally branded by this label, we can and should use additional colloquial title which is bound to be better understood by the general public. When I recently referred to Madura Dictionary for the word incorporated, I found a more suitable word, Sammatakala. Personally, I think the term Sammatakala Engineeru better describes and defines the incorporated engineer. Therefore, I urge you to discuss this matter during the AGM and propose a more appropriate additional colloquial Sinhala name that allows the incorporated engineer to be recognized and treated. Further, when Sri Lankan incorporated engineers travel outside Sri Lanka, they are respected and held in high regard. This I can say from my own experience. There is a certain prestige associated with being able to understand a problem, identify a solution, and resolve it using high level of acquired knowledge. Living by example is the best means of drawing out professionalism in a culture and practice where it is often overlooked. Someone unknown once said, To the optimist, glass is half full. To the pessimist, glass is half empty. To the incorporated engineer, glass is twice as big as it needs to be. I leave you with the words of one of the world's greatest engineers, mathematicians, and artists, Leonardo da Vinci. I have been impressed with the urgency of doing. Knowing is not enough. We must apply. Being willing is not enough. We must do. Thank you.